All right. So, yeah, it's April 2026. Welcome, everybody, to the April Siebel Friday. Nice to see you all. And of course, the first topic of the day, as usual, is the latest Siebel release, which comes out on a monthly basis since, well, 2018. So, Oracle is really, really holding up the promises here. And 26.4 is a relatively small compared to 26.3, which was really big. So we talked about this last time, not going back. There's only one major feature in 26.4 besides bug fixes and documentation enhancements. And that is an interesting one. It is the repository update pre-assessment. So we'll look into that in a moment. And for the security aware people among you, Tomcat is still 10.1.47, the same as all the year. So it hasn't changed all year. It sounds strange when you say it like that. Yeah, be reminded that Siebel 25, the later versions, and 26 have so many things that have changed or that have been added that it might be worth your while looking at our Siebel 26 booster pack on siebelhub.com. Let me know if you're interested. That is a compilation of video trainings that we put together, especially for the Siebel experts like you are. But even experts need some training or need some new knowledge, fresh knowledge. And the Siebel Hub is the place where you get that knowledge. And also, Oracle University is the place where you get the same knowledge because, as you know, Siebel Hub video training is on Oracle University, available as a complete 1 year subscription. The Siebel CRM learning subscription, 160 hours of video. And now Oracle has actually added or made available a new offer. So let's dig into that offer real quick. And that is the blog post by John Bedford, where um, I'll get that in the chat for you. Give a moment. And here is the official announcement that there is not just the Siebel CRM learning subscription available on Oracle University, which is all the video training you want on Siebel, but it's also now including 3 attempts at the Siebel CRM professional certification exam. So 3 attempts, that is worth like $750. So that is a great offer. So if you want to take that professional certification exam and you want that 1 year subscription, now is the time to get it. So you can take 3 attempts at the exam. And honestly, if you don't pass it at the 3rd attempt, you're back to school with you. Okay, so that's good news. I guess not for you guys because you all have maybe hands up real quick on the chat. Who has a Siebel, a modern Siebel certification gained from Oracle, associate or professional?
I
Any?
do.
Yes, Santiago has, Mate has. Okay. I Foundations is Prashant. Okay, foundation exam. So yeah, now there's a really good offer for the professional certification. 3 exams included in the price for the learning subscription, Oracle University. Okay, so that is a few announcements before, of course, now let's talk about 26.4, the one feature that's described in the release notes, and you find that immediately actually when you look at web tools more closely. You find a new menu. In the tools menu, you find update assessment. When you open it the first time, you look at an empty view, or there's a bunch of views that are all empty. So how do you fill them with data? there's one way to fill them. You have to run the repository update pre-assessment tool. And that is a Java utility called monthlyupdate.jar. And it is in your Sieb server bin directory. It is described in the upgrade guide, Siebel upgrade guide, along with the repository update. Remember that since 26.1, there's a question in chat. I'm going to address that. No, Nick, actually, you run before. Optionally, you can run it anytime. You can run it to compare any version against any version, literally. And you typically would run it before you do the repository update to assess the impact of the repository update. And the reason why I'm saying repository update and not repository upgrade is because since 26.1, it is repository update with the new true delta files format, so that reduce the risk of conflicts down to 1% or maybe less. And Nick asks, you have to install 26.4 first? Yes, you have to install your development environment, update that to 26.4 to get the utility because it's in the binaries. And when you run the utility, you get two things. You get an HTML report. I have one live, so we can look at that one. And also the tables in the database start filling up, and the views in Siebel Web Tools, they start showing the same data. And of course, the HTML report is more for, let's say, ad hoc consumption on screen, and the views you can export from list applets, so that is easier to maybe put that into Excel format for further analysis if it's necessary. So let me actually try to find my report that I have prepared. Yep, here we go. And that is what you get after the run. So I ran it against 23.7, the quite old version, to get some data, because when you run it against a smaller gap, you don't get much. And the end version, of course, is now 26.4. You have to designate a integration workspace that will act as the workspace it is based on. So you can create that one. I created one on top of the version 23.7 that I had in my database, or it is one of your project workspaces. It will run, when it runs, it creates a developer workspace and does a dry run TDF import. So it really does all the imports, analyzes it, and then deletes that developer workspace again. So there's no trace in your repository. But while it runs, there is an import running into a developer workspace that it creates. And you can see it does on that. Let me zoom in there a little bit here. There's a count of impacted objects. So 480 objects have been changed between 23.7 and 26.4. 6,400 attributes have been impacted or are impacted, have been changed. But only 14 objects have critical changes, and that's the important number you have to look at. So 480 or 6,400 sounds super scary. And but 14 and 24, that's manageable, right? You can basically review that and resolve that in maybe 10 minutes. It is probably not a big deal because it's the TDF repository update anyway. And then you have a summary here by object type, where you can see it, well, aggregated by the object type. So you can even sort that here. So applet, 146 applets have been touched by Oracle over these, 2.5 years, probably. 139 business components and so forth. And then there's a critical summary. So how many of these objects are critical? So there are 5 web templates that have critical changes, 2 applets, 1 workflow, 1 symbolic string, and so forth. And then you go down to the categorization, where you see it's divided by layers. So you have one for the UI layer. So you have all the UI related object types. Well, let's pick web template. So you also have the radius here, all the attributes. That's a long, long list here. And that list has one column at the end where it says a recommendation from Oracle, okay to take. So all the non-critical stuff is okay to take. So how does Oracle find out? It basically finds out that the old value of this one is it's some flag here was no. The customer value was no. So the customer did not really touch that. And the Siebel new value is yes. So Siebel, it's probably an inactive flag. Yeah. So something was inactivated. Okay. If something is inactivated, you might know what was inactivated. So then you see it's an applet web template item on a CUT account task form applet, whatever. You see the name of the applet here. So again, this is HTML, but there's also tables in the database where this data is visible. And the critical flag, of course, that's where what you're really interested in. And then you can see, okay, there is a lot of applets marked as critical because custom old value and customer value are not the same. So there was a null value. Customer put in yes, but that's allow object locking. That's really irrelevant, so you can ignore that. That says needs attention. So let's look at these web templates. This is where it gets interesting because I had a customer, they customized every single standard web template. I don't know why, but they did that. And Oracle keeps updating the web templates too. So even if you, it's even marked as critical because the code in the web template changes. So you need to do a diff for these web templates, find out what Oracle changed, accept that, or maybe if you have some customizations that are now going to be overwritten because the entire web template is going to be overwritten, then you need to re-implement that. But it gives you clearly gives you the names of, there should be the names, yeah, 5 web templates. You can filter, of course. And then give that information to the developer, or if you're the developer, you know what to do. So that's how you work with that HTML report. Business layer gives you, well, all the business object, let's say business component. I have one I actually made on purpose before I ran it. I changed a user property, business component user private fields. So that's my customer value. Notice the type I added. So the original vanilla value is that. And user properties are always dangerous, you know. So I added type, and Oracle completely rewrote the user property. So that, of course, is critical. So now we know it. It still has the old value, our custom value in the repository. Nothing has changed, but now we know it. And we can take an educated action, educated decision when it happens. Of course, you would go back and add the type field again because that's what you wanted to the new value. Okay. Yeah, the report also deals with test scripts. If you have test scripts in your database for Siebel test automation, it will find all the scripts that are impacted, where an object is listed that is impacted. And there's also a repository usage report. So it gives you for each object here, gives you where it's used. That's very confusing. That's also there. Okay, so yeah, that's the new HTML report with the new monthly update char Java utility. Once you run it, you get this HTML report and you get the views in Siebel Web Tools with the same information. So you have a database, you have a set of database tables with that data. Yeah. Okay. So cool. I think it's pretty neat. What do you guys think about?
I think it's awesome. I'm going to be interested to see what happens to this Mama 17.0 database.
Yeah, Nick, you're still on clinical trial 17 because you have all these conflicts you had in sin with the repository upgrade, right?
Yep, we'll see what it looks like. I
Mm-hmm.
applaud Oracle on this product. I wish I could run it against an environment
Uh,
standalone without having to install 26.4.
uh, yeah, I guess. Well, I'm not sure if that's because it's Java, it needs some binaries. It's
Understood. I mean,
yeah,
I'm just it's a wish thingy.
wish yeah, but it is non-intrusive, definitely. So you can run it in. Yeah, you have to update your development environment or a clone of that. It's a little bit of work you have to do to get there. That's true. Yeah, but yeah, great stuff and a great addition to the repository update, the true delta. So now, I think Nick, would you agree that now the chances are higher than ever that you can do a repository update?
Yes, but it'll require, I won't know how bad it is until I do it. I'm suspecting it's awful.
Oh, maybe it's not too bad with the true delta, but I would be definitely I would like to see it too. I would like to see that report on your repository if
Well, we have
that's
to share it
possible.
with you and Brian, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I know I have it. Some of my sources told me that Brian, he's not here today, I see, but Brian was involved with a lot of customers who had very complex repositories when they developed this. So this was really battle tested out in
Should
the
have
field.
asked me.
Well,
I'm the worst case, I think.
maybe you are. All right. Okay. And then there's also the time when you look at Siebel Web Tools and you are like me, you have been using Siebel Tools for 25 years. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, Oracle added a feature in Web Tools that was in Siebel Tools for all the time. And that's a feature that I personally used so much, is the F1 key. So that not sure if you even are aware that you can press F1 when you are in almost any Windows application. I'm not sure on Mac what key it is. Uh, at least, especially in Siebel Tools, when you press F1, you got to this Windows help thingy, but you got to the right page. So depending on the object type you were on, you got to the page in the object type's reference. And now it's actually redirecting the browser to a local HTML file in the local tools help. Or if you are on web tools, it also works and goes to the hosted web tools help that is on your external Tomcat. So maybe let me quickly show that. Going to, let's go to web tools. Oh, that's not web tools. There's my, okay, that's call center. Web tools running. Yeah, I need to log in first.
Can we do table changes in web tools in 26.4?
Uh, no, no, that's not a feature yet.
Okay.
Yeah, so
What
that
was that?
still requires Siebel tools. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So for example, I'm currently looking at applets. So I'm pressing F1. See, opens a new tab. and goes to the object types reference for applets. So you can see all the properties,
Oh, sweet.
which works in Siebel Tools all the time since I started using it. But now it's in Web Tools. And that's 26.1, so it's not even new, not entirely. So it's just a stealth edition. Yeah, that's a 26.1 I have here. A stealth edition from Oracle, but a good one, because it is sometimes what is this property? What is this property all about? Especially like the integration object stuff. And then just F1, you're on the right page and you can read, okay, that is not used. Okay, and so forth. That, by the way, that is on the same server. That is on your AI server. So you have the full a collection of guides, of bookshelf guides, is on your servers when you update Siebel. That is the Siebel Tools Hell, the official developer related guides. So you can of course bookmark that and browse that. You don't have to press F1. You can just go there. Okay, that's pretty nice as well. So definitely one off the list for Oracle with the features that have been missing in Web Tools. Like, yeah, someone said before, the table doing editing tables and applying table changes is still Siebel Tools, not in Web Tools yet. Okay.
On that topic, when I've talked to Brian and Carrie, the more we request the table update be workspace related, the more it gets pushed up in the queue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, keep talking to Oracle, keep requesting changes.
Enhancement.
Yeah, enhancement requests. The more, yeah, it needs a little bit of, let's call it pressure in a positive sense. Needs to be a little bit of pushing to get that thing out. Yeah, I'm quite sure. I hope I can speak for Oracle here, not being with Oracle, of course, but I'm quite sure they are working on it as we speak to get those features out. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room, because very soon it's going to be May 1st, 2026. That is the official day when the dual purpose SSL certificates are deprecated. That means official public certificates issued by public certificate authorities will not have a server auth extended key usage and at the same time a client auth, which was possible before. And Siebel actually uses the dual purpose certificates a lot. You see that in the screenshot below. Typical Siebel certificate where you have a client and server authentication, extended key usage, or EKU. So there is this is not news to you, and should not be news to anybody by now. There is a good blog post by Brian on the Siebel CRM blog. Also, there are a lot of information on the internet about that. But the big question is, what do you do, right? So you have these certificates on your machines with the dual purpose, and it is May 1. Will your Siebel break? Answer is, of course not. So it doesn't break, no matter what version of Siebel is, because the rule is that those certificates are still okay under most circumstances, especially if they're internal, or even self-signed. You can do whatever you want. And in most Siebel environments, correct me if I'm wrong, how's that in your environments? All the certificates used by Siebel are internal. They are not external facing. They are not even signed by a public certificate authority. They're signed internally. Is right? Am I right?
No, all mine are full certs.
Uh,
I don't have signed ones.
Self-signed,
I have no self-signed certificate.
but you sign them using a internal certificate authority. That is not a
No,
public
we
one.
want to get a regular certificate like we would for AI.
Mhm. Okay, but still, even if they are publicly signed, they will still be valid. Otherwise, the internet would stop working on May 1st, right? They're still valid until they expire. So watch that expiration date of your certificates. That's the date minus 1 month or so when you need to act. Of course, the earlier you act, the better. So in one of my customers, we looked at it and it was February 27 when the certificates expire. So we have a lot of time, but still they will update to 26 dot something later this year. And then we say, okay, let's do it. So what happens is in 26.3, actually, Oracle added the support to have a separate client key store. So a Java key store that has the client side certificate that has the client EKU and a separate server key store and the trust store. So now you can, when you install Siebel 26.3 fresh, which you rarely do because we all have existing applications. But if you do the fresh install, you'll notice that the installer window now asks you for 3 certificate stores, 3 key stores or JKS files. And it puts them in the right place. So I did a video on that. It's on YouTube where you can see the outcome of that. So when you do updates, you don't have these key stores, of course, and you just keep your key stores. And they keep working until the certificates inside them expire. And how do you then migrate? So there are basically 3 situations. You do a fresh install, you do an update to 26.3 or higher, or you stay on an older version until 26.2. And very recently, just a few days ago, Oracle has published a knowledge document on Oracle support. That's the number. Download that and get it. KB884096. That's a document. I cannot show it, of course. It's support, Oracle support, but that's a document you want to look into. Also, the bookshelf guide, the 26.4 bookshelf guide. Let me open that. Oh, okay. Yeah, they're currently working on bookshelf. I should have known. So bookshelf, the online bookshelf 26.4 is currently not available, but you can download the PDF, by the way. The PDF bookshelf is out there, but let's not go there. So the bookshelf guide, the security guide has a chapter on it as well. So, but basically what the knowledge base document and bookshelf tell you, there are 2 types of files that you need to touch when you do a manual migration. So, well, actually 3 types of files. First of all, you need to prepare your key stores, right? So you would have a key store where you have the server certificates that have the server EKU. You would have a key store with the client certificates, with the client EKU, and you would still have your trust store. So now you have 3 JKS files. The Tomcat server XML, always think of, is the tool acting as a server or is it acting as a client? And Tomcat is a server. So in the server XML, you refer to the server key store. And of course, you refer to the trust store always. But it's the really key thing to understand, pun intended, is do I have to point to the server key store or the client key store? So with Tomcat, that's a no-brainer. Tomcat is a server. It presents a server certificate. What with all the Java servlets running on the Tomcats, the AI, the migration app, the cloud gateway, and so forth. Again, sorry for that. So these are all driven by properties files. So you have been there, right? Application interface properties is for AI, migration.properties for migration on the external Tomcat. both actually act as clients. The AI, you know what it does really? It sends requests to the internal Tomcat, for example, to the cloud gateway, service discovery, where it acts as a client, and the cloud gateway is a server. Actually, the green one, the cloud gateway, is the only server in this game. All the others are client applications. So they, in the application interface properties or in the properties file, you refer to the client key store. And of course, the trust store. And only in the cloud gateway, in the gateway properties, you refer to actually all three, because the cloud gateway can be a client, can be a server. And that's all laid out in the documentation that Oracle gives you. So that's the deal. That's something every administrator will have to do sooner or later, depending on that expiration date of your current certificates. Okay. Yeah, that's the big elephant. Any any real life experiences or any stories, any comments, thoughts?
Like
Created
these
the
are for
stores. As far as I've got,
So, sorry, say again, Nick.
I've only created the client key stores so far.
You created them.
The client key stores.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't gone any further yet. No
Okay.
time.
So you're working your way towards migrating.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've
Of
got
course.
till 427 on all my certs.
Mhm. So what's your cutoff date, your expiration?
420, see 4, 5, 27.
Oh, that's in 27. Okay, so you still have time.
Plenty.
Yeah.
I got a 398 cert before
Yeah.
they changed the 200.
Well, yeah, I heard from one guy he has May 12th. So they're in a bit of a hurry they're updating to 26.3. Because if you are on 26.3 and higher, it's also easier. It's one less step. But you can even do it on the support guide describes how to do it on a older Siebel version.
Alexander, one question. Like we are using 25.6 right now,
Mm-hmm.
so it has only two JKS, and soon we will be installing whatever is available on Siebel E Cloud Delivery, like 26.3 or 4.
Yes.
So like for the trust store, like I have not read it. For trust store, I think all the clients we used to put there before for the external, like some documentation or some servers for the reporting purpose, something like that. So we used to do it in trust store at that time, correct?
Mm-hmm.
In
Yeah.
the previous versions. So
Yeah.
now it is.
Please go on.
Okay, sorry. So now this client one is the new one. That means require just for the external clients we used to put in the JKS, their certificates.
Uh, Basically, you need your existing certificates that you have in the key store, the key store. They have two EQUs. They have an EQU for. Let me go back. You can see it down here. If
Yeah.
you look at the certificate closely, look at the extended key usage, you see two entries. That's most of the Siebel environments that exist today have both in the certificate. So what you have to do is create two certificates, one which has the client auth EQU and one which has the server auth EQU, and have them signed, of course. They must be signed by your certificate authority. And the client one goes into a new key store you call client key store, or you can give it any name, but client key store. And the server, the one for the server goes there, server key store. And then you have to change these because you change the file names. You don't change the password because you know the password is encrypted. It's a
Yeah.
hassle. keep the same password, but now you have basically split one key store file, you have two key store files now. And depending on what the software actually needs, you will point to either the server key store or the client key store. Okay, makes sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay, but it's a good idea to as you said, update to the latest Siebel 26.4 is out. Update to it, because if you are on 26.2 or earlier, it's not impossible, but it's more steps. And you have to do one more step when you update to 26.3 or later. So if you
Yeah.
can update right away and do it on the new version, do the migration. Yeah.
Yeah, we are trying to do the Redwood POC, so I might do the latest one only. Let's see.
Mhm.
I will update you.
Yeah, sure. Keep us updated. Okay, so yeah, that's something that's coming, has been discussed for quite some time on Siebel Friday as well. Speaking of Siebel Fridays, as you noticed that there's now a registration page, or you just drop your email in the chat and I put you on the 1990 style email list. We get a notification from me. But the May Siebel Friday next month will be pre-recorded virtual. I will be on vacation then. And June we will have the next live Siebel Friday. And then of course, Siebel Friday is not stopping in June. It's going on, but just the next two, just so you know. And people who watch the video also know. Um, all right. Okay. Yeah, anything about Siebel 26.4 certificates you want to discuss?
Do we need to do that for all the AIs we have in Gateway, right?
Yeah, for all your Siebel machines. Yeah.
Because
Uh,
I have 6 AIs I use on a
yeah.
server.
They all need the new certificates and the server XML changed and application interface dot properties and stuff.
Yay.
Yay. But you maybe, yeah, automating that is not easy because, manipulating text files with or XML with scripts is always, yeah. I don't know. But you can
Claude's
put an
giving me Claude's
Cla-
giving me what I'm going to
Claude's going to write your Python script in no time. Yeah.
see what it does.
Yeah. Speaking of, nice segue. Thank you. Speaking of AI, I have the next part of this Siebel Friday is actually taking us back to one of the little side projects that I had over the years, which is devpops. You guys remember, I know some of you use it. Or you
Yeah,
have
we use it.
have adopted it. Yeah. So devpops is, again, for those who don't know what it is, it's a open source MIT license. It is what it is. Um, educationals, educational examples for how to do stuff with Siebel OpenUI in the client and even in web tools, which is strictly verboten by Oracle, but it's just a experimental. And this one has been in the works for several years, and the era where basically it's the end of an era where you had handwritten code. So all of the code you find here, or 99% of the code you find, has been hand coded by several people, including me. There's a big postload.js file. There's a big devpops.js file, which carry most of the logic in the browser. And of course, this has been incrementally increased in size over the years. It's a huge repository of code. I wouldn't write that way if I would write it today, but it's still functional, of course. It's not bad, I guess. It works. If it runs, it can't be bad, right? So my idea was take the take the devpops repository and make it with Claude Code, open a folder, and literally have a session with Claude Code, or if I say Claude Code, it's representative for any agentic AI. You can use Codex, whatever you want. I literally ask Claude, okay, go through the devpops and postload.js file. Tell me what you see, categorize it. It found all the features, like, okay, there's an X-ray feature, where you can X-ray applets and stuff like that. There's a dependency finder. It found all these tools. And then I ask, okay, which one of these would make sense to completely rewrite in a put in a modern application? And I wanted to remove the browser dependencies. It can be standalone outside of Siebel. That was my idea. And I also wanted to remove the third-party dependencies, etc. Complete rewrite. So that resulted in, of course, a big project I started. That's my environment I use with Claude Code, Visual Studio Code plugin. And that's a result of many, many hours of me telling Claude what to do, steering the AI, guiding it through the process. But the coding was all done by Claude. And the outcome is a small, single, standalone server, written in Go, by the way. Go is a good language for doing standalone servers you can deploy on Linux and Windows. And that server serves a web page which hosts many popular devpop features. And let me show you what this looks like. So you will recognize some of it. So that's the web page. I probably need to log in again. So it's standalone. So it's not in Siebel anymore. It's standalone. I called it REST, the Really Educational Siebel Toolkit. and and that means it's a standalone tool and it uses the REST API a lot. Actually, it can only connect to Siebel through the REST API. So it's also not just you can learn how to use Siebel REST from it, right? So and I have this launchpad here, so I have all the features here, and Claude and I we took most of the stuff that was there, and we reinvented it or rewrote it, and we also developed something completely new along the way, which is hopefully becomes a collection that one day I will maybe publish. I'm not sure if I should publish this because it's actually super dangerous stuff sometimes. But you might recognize the applet X-ray. It works different now, so you're not inside Siebel, so you have to search for an applet. So that's already using the REST API, to get the applet list from the repository. You connect to a development environment for this. And let's choose, for example, SIS account list applet. And it loads the repository definition. And it's a list applet, so it will create the column representation of that applet. Of course, not showing any data, just using the metadata. So there it is. So that's the columns of the list applet. And then you can, in X-ray mode, you can see the control information. There's a pop-up there. And you can see the BC field information. You can see the tables and columns as you do in X-ray. No, that's the proper X-ray code. Of course, that code was reused. So now I have each and every column, and I know exactly where it maps to, what is the control, the field, and the table, and the column. Zooming in a little bit for those with smaller screens. Is there a question? There was a hand raised.
Yeah, this is Venkat. Alex, like the open integration is also providing this kind of an exposure, all those UI layer metadata, right?
Yes and no, but this is different. This is the pure metadata from the repository.
Oh, okay.
It's
Okay,
not.
this is okay. This is completely getting entire repository information. Okay.
Yes, it's not.
Only
Yeah,
available API related. Okay.
Yeah, and it's not using open integration because it's just using the plain Siebel REST API.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's actually if you know how the Siebel REST API works, and that's the learning part of this, there's an insight panel, so I can see the REST request it generates. So it has generated a lot of REST requests to get business component data, for example, for the position field. I know this is small, so I have to zoom in. And the bigger requests are probably, yeah, they use get children all. Get children all is a super parameter to get everything. So it's the workspace API. I'm reading the business component called CUT address. And get children all gets you the entire business component definition. All the fields, all the
Okay.
stuff.
Okay.
And
That's a lot. Yeah.
and the backend, the Go backend, parses that really quick and then presents that HTML. And well, the courtesy of Claude Code, who did the heavy lifting, right? I just told Claude, hey, you can use a URL like that, and that's my knowledge that I put in as a developer, or the knowledge that is in Siebel Bookshelf. You get the idea. And then Claude knows what to do. It's okay, and it starts doing queries, and then it starts looking at the responses and says, "Oh yeah, I can use this." So that's what becomes of the X-ray. You can also X-ray form applets. The hard part was actually getting the form applet to really get a representation of the form applet. You have this grid layout thingy with the coordinates. Not all the applets come out nicely. You can see the REST requests that it does. See how this one comes out. Yeah, that's one of the applets that doesn't come out too nicely. Yeah, too nice. Yeah. But I might just, that should have more fields. Or did I reuse the wrong one? Context form applet, maybe. Let's use SIS for the opportunity form applet. This one. This one's a good one. And of course, we are doing a live demo, so everything that can go wrong will go wrong. But it's really fun getting your head around the REST API and developing something like that. So that doesn't look too bad. And I can show the fields and columns. So it's on purpose. It's purposefully half-assed. So pardon my French, or ham-fisted. I just wanted to see what Cloud Code is capable of in a quick shot. Not a one shot, but a quick shot that is 1 hour, 2 hours max spent on the utility. So this is what you see here is basically a result of maximum 2 hours of work. Most of the time waiting on Cloud to finish coding and then testing and giving some feedback. So that is, I'm still getting used to working like that. So then we have the business service runner. It's one of my favorite devpops features. You can quickly run any business service. And you might ask yourself, okay, how can you run any business service if it's not registered in the REST API? Well, the devpops background helps me do that. So there's a background service I call. So I can choose any business service, like even a complex one like EI Siebel adapter, list the methods, query page, list the input arguments. Yes, now we're talking, right? So I put in an output integration object and then run it. It really runs it on the Siebel side and return. That's not a mock. It looks like a mock-up. It's not. It's the real Siebel message coming back, nicely formatted, of course. in hierarchical format. So there's the list of contacts. That's the Siebel message for 2 accounts. First 2. You can get it raw if you if you want the raw property set. Let's just run it again. You can save this. So you can run it, load it again from a list. Yeah. Again, this is the result of a few prompts on purpose, not super refined. It is not super refined. Sounds preposterous here. It looks very refined, right? You can even see the eScript it generates. So you can have your eScript snippet for running this. But that's a feature in devpops too. It just looks different and it's hand coded and it shows. Okay. So that's 2.
Good stuff.
When I see something cool, that was a side effect of working standalone and having all the devpops services. In devpops we have this script playground, eScript playground. So I said, okay, let's create a REPL that is a read edit something. I always forget what REPL means. That's a live editor for eScript. So it uses that log function is courtesy of the eScript service that is part of devpops. And now I'm running eScript on the Siebel server and seeing the result. So the login name is admin. And there's some examples. So you can learn eScript with that, right? So there's some examples. For example, run a query on. Of course, you're not inside the Siebel UI, so you have to use the getBus object, but it's really running on the Siebel server. You see the output. That is so weird. I can't even. Yeah. Or call a business service or work with property sets. There's a performance test. So you can run a loop of 10,000. Is that 10,000? Yeah. 10,000 loop runs 1.1 seconds. Let's run it again. Doesn't get any faster, gets slower. Yeah. And of course, that's the full editor, right? So you can do things like this. No, you can't. Okay. The application, yeah, this one, that drop down. Get service, start typing, gives you, drop downs. Well, we're on the Siebel repository, so we can read all this, right? And it does it with business components and field names. And of course, doesn't do anything with that service, but runs the line. So yeah, that's maybe the new style of testing your eScript outside of Siebel even. So
Pretty cool, Alex.
yeah, it's so much fun. And that again, I'm repeating myself, but that is 100% vibe coded. I just directed Claude to the place in devpops. So look at this feature in devpops and build it as a standalone utility that is part of this harness. What else do we have? That one's also cool. Not sure where I was going with that, but it's a flowchart, flowchart designer, so I can create flowcharts, yes, which run in the little Go server that I have, the backend server. So they can do calls to Siebel, they can do calls to anything else. And we have some predefined step types like do a get against the Siebel business object, extract the data into variables, run a subflow, run some eScript, save it to file. And that's not just graphic, that is runnable. So I'm clicking run and it runs, does it. I'm not sure where I was going with that. I was carried away. But these are possibilities we have, right? So writing that from hand would take literally days. Now it takes a few minutes. That's where we are today.
I find Claude is pretty good, but not always accurate. It needs some love.
It needs a lot of context. Those things all need context. They need words and words and words. And the words must be correct. So that is, for example, feeding it bookshelf. We all love bookshelf, but we all use bookshelf, and we all know the bookshelf has its limitations, or there's some old information in there. So I was that person. I was feeding it bookshelf, and it just was not good. And then I was starting to feed it curated parts of bookshelf that I know were good. And then I was feeding it our Siebel Hub training materials, not bragging, but it as really good. Those of you taken my training know it. And guess what an AI can do if it's trained on proper training material? And of course, this Claude that wrote all these REST calls has been trained on the Siebel REST course that we have. It's not just not just bookshelf, because if you take the REST guide in bookshelf, yeah, okay, take it with a grain of salt. So yeah,
You know,
Nick,
the 24 dual cert thing, I fed the KB article into it and asked it to write me scripts and stuff to handle my servers.
yeah, you do that.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it does incredible things. And just literally today, I had one side project for a customer. They had a web template, which was written in, I don't know, 2006. And the web template had tons of JavaScript in it calling Google Maps, for Google address stuff. It was all baked into a web template. And I put the web template into a Claude folder. I have my open UI training set that it can rely on, the skills. And it, yeah, came out 97% okay-ish with a plugin wrapper to do the same thing. So no web template has to be harmed. And yeah, I was literally, wow, okay. But it also dawned on me that as a developer, as a Siebel developer, AI is not replacing anybody in our industry. AI is becoming a tool that replaces a lot of other tools and replaces a lot of time we spent hitting the keyboard. We hit the keyboard with natural language, and the code is written by the AI. That's what changes. But still, you need that expert knowledge and guide the AI and curate the input and all of that. If you don't know anything about the Siebel REST API, you can't build anything like this. I'm quite sure. So let me show you one more thing, which is also I got carried away a little bit. So I'm fond of these little demos. I say, okay, let's build an app. Let's build a phone app that uses the Siebel REST API. So I have an app builder here and loading a template. And so I can add tabs like accounts. Let's remove one of these fields and starts working. So this is a real-time query display. So this is the account list fetched by REST in a preview. Let's do that for contacts. There are too many fields in this sample, but contacts should work now. Yeah, contacts is working. It pages, so that's the real contact list from the sample database, which runs on my system. Opportunities. It's loading opportunities. Yeah. And you can add tabs, so you can move the tabs around. You can customize the theme, or you have a pre-built theme, for example, ebook theme. I like that one. It's like Kindle style. So you save that, and then it tells you, okay, open it on your phone on that very server. You now have an app running. Of course, I can't show you the phone, so I have to just open a tab here. So it runs locally on my machine, but it can run anywhere. So now, and this is the app that I generated, and it's now served, and I can emulate the phone. Of course, it runs on any screen, but on the phone it looks like this. And it's really operational, so I can search for, type something in Marriott. Yeah. I can click that, I can edit it, writes back. That's the test update. It's only 2 fields, mind you, but you see where this is going. I can see the contacts, can search for Miller. Yeah. It's doing real-time search. Imagine doing that. Also creating new records. That's on your phone. Then you can test it. How would it look on a tablet? Yeah, of course it's responsive. No, it's not much. It's just listing records. But imagine having an app builder and now you make changes to it in the app builder and save it again. So the quick prototyping. Yeah, that was an idea I had, and Claude implemented it for me. Crazy stuff, right?
I will try it for admin part. Let's see if something I can build. Like because you think like a developer, I think like a infra guy. So a
Yeah,
little bit different. Like there's
yeah.
something means yeah, a good idea you pitch in. Yeah, great.
Uh, you say infrastructure, so you would be
Yeah.
interested in a health dashboard
Okay.
for your servers, like this one?
Yeah. Like I was thinking of a like tree kind of thing. Like I'll go to like in my previous organization, there's a Proximus Telecom. They are using 150 plus servers, Linux
Uh-huh.
servers around that
Yeah.
path, order management. So we were using a Dynatrace and a Splunk to keep everything running at
Hmm.
that time.
Yeah.
So it was hectic part. So at that time, cloud was not there, and we were just using, half an hour, HTML page refreshes itself and get everything from the server manager, which
Yeah.
components are running, and
Mhm.
it was a hectic thing.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, you pitched something. I will surely build something on it, which
Yeah.
will include something certifications, expiry, which is good for the admin part. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yes.
it's perfect. And with the part that you mentioned, just checking your server up. Is your server up? Is your component running? How many
Yeah.
component sessions? That is also available through a REST API, right? The Siebel Cloud Gateway. And that's what I'm actively using in this dashboard here. So that it every 30 seconds it queries the cloud gateway and gets the current status of the 2 servers I have here, gets the component status. There's a timeline. It's not happening. It's not much happening.
Okay.
Can see the active sessions, no sessions. Yeah, it's not, nothing is up,
Okay.
but see the components, can filter by servers, right?
Okay.
So
So what service it is using like in REST API? I think it
uh,
is Cloud Gateway.
yeah,
Okay.
it's the Cloud Gateway REST API that
Okay.
uh,
Perfect.
is that's the one that SMC uses, the
Yeah.
Siebel Management Console. So it's not fully documented, but you can find your way. And uh, I I gave Claude several addresses, and it went and I said, explore everything you can. So it came up by itself, came up with the server statistics. It
So
found
it is
somewhere
safe.
in the REST API. I said, okay, let's put that on the dashboard.
Is it safe to give our like POC environment URL to Claude? Like I'm very skeptical about that part to feed them that info.
Uh,
Like some
yeah, of course, play it safe. So you have to
yeah,
have an evaluation, a sandbox environment where you can work with. Don't let it hit the production environment, yeah, because it will
we
it
don't
will
have
it will hit
we
it with
don't have.
thousands of requests. It will go down, right?
o- Okay, sure.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
keep in mind.
So be very careful. Also with be super careful with passwords. You know,
Yeah,
don't ever share with Claude any of your admin passwords or whatever. Because no matter what kind of contract you have with Anthropic or with OpenAI or with Microsoft, this data will leave your system and will be processed on a cloud machine. You don't know where it is,
yeah,
and it will be in log files and it will be leaked eventually.
yeah,
So never ever give it any sensitive information. So you can tell it if you have a sandbox environment. Of course, it's safe to give it the password, and
yeah,
then it can learn. It can play around with the URLs and with the requests and build something that you can then run on the real environment. Or
yeah.
like Nick said, it builds a script. It builds a Python script that you run then on a sensitive environment after understanding what the script does, hopefully. Mhm.
Surely we'll build it. We'll try to build it.
Yeah.
Apart from that, using your parts, it will be more interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope this is I'm showing you this because I would like to show you what AI currently, what the state of agentic AI currently is. So it can build impressive stuff. It's dangerous. In the hands of a responsible and skilled developer, it can do a lot of things. So I know I'm over time. One more thing to inspire. I hope it gets you inspired. As a Siebel instructor that I am for 25 years. So my industry is understanding Siebel and teaching Siebel. So this is not helping understanding you, but uh, this is what Siebel looks like when you create a graph, an object graph of the repository. So for example, starts here at the application. That's a mermaid diagram, by the way. And I can filter, for example, can filter a few layers. So it becomes less hideous. So here you can see the application has screens. The screens have views, the basics of Siebel, right? But it's all interconnected. And there's the applet, and it points to a business component, and there's your joins, and there's your table and column down there. So I call this the juggernaut. Not sure why I came up with that name. And it's basically understanding having Claude Code query the repository in a way that it understands the connections and then generate that graph. That's not even, it doesn't need to query again. It's just, it's how the Siebel repository is built. And wouldn't it be fun to use a 3D diagram of that? So you have a kind of living organic thing. I know that's looks really bad, but you can focus on certain areas. You just filter away a lot of stuff. Again, let's just use business, the plain things, right? So you have your application. You can see how it refers to menu, to web pages, the toolbar. Yeah, you can drag these things around. It might not be super useful for anybody, but it's I think a super organic way of displaying how things are interacting in the Siebel repository. I I just love playing with things like this and learn how graphs work, how knowledge graphs work, etc. And Claude Code enables me to do this. I would never had the time to build something like this. Okay, so I think with this, let's stop on this note. And yeah, microphones are still open, and if in case you want to share anything or
Would love to get a copy of this to show my management how complex the application is.
yeah, I can create a standalone page from this, and so you can have it.
Thank you, sir.
I'll work on that. I
All
started
right.
I started working on basically I thought the Launchpad was a good idea, kind of a one application that hosts all the other applications. But something like the health monitor, for example, that I would like to have standalone, just a single executable or a single HTML page, just to open in any browser and it works. So I'm working on uh, externalizing things. Yeah, so the Juggernaut will be next. Okay.
So just for Yayas,
Okay.
I sent you my style guide, Alex, that I
Mhm.
feed to Claude that makes all my code look the same.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's how you use it. Yeah, you must you must feed it words. These are word eating and word producing machines. So the more words you eat it, you feed it, the better words you get. Yeah, that's the way. I think most people are realizing that now after 2 or 3 years with the last year, especially with all these tools like Claude and also Codex. Honorable mention here. Codex is really good um, from OpenAI. People started using it in earnest, and they realized it matters. The input matters more than the output, and the input can only be good if the person providing the input is good at what they do. So a expert Siebel developer paired doing pair programming with Claude or Codex, that's the real win-win combination here. Or an expert Siebel administrator, any expert in any field. It could be genetics or whatever. And if you put a genetics expert together with AI, yeah, we'll probably get a cure for cancer, probably. But in the meantime, we get nice tools out of it to to make our life as Siebel developers and administrators easier. Okay, so yeah, that's all from my side.
Thank you, Alex.
I see people dropping off, so yeah. So then have a great month. See you next Siebel Friday virtually, and see you next Siebel Friday live again. Okay, take care. Bye bye, everybody.
Okay.
So.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye.